Alright, now that I've had some time to process and play and all that stuff with subclassing, I want to talk about my feelings around it, the good, the bad, basically my thoughts on the whole situation. And at the end, I'm also going to talk about what I think Zosh should have done. So let's get into it. Okay, so I think for most people, they would have realized this already, but for those that haven't, one of the biggest changes is going to be just how extreme a character can be. Because previously, if you're a healer, you were semi limited, but now you can stack 3 healing skill lines and basically have the ultimate healer build. Now, this goes for DPS as well, so DPS can take all 3 DPS lines and hit like trucks. So fundamentally, every aspect of the game is just going to get more extreme. Now, this in a lot of ways can be a good thing because it opens up a lot of build possibilities and there's a lot of interesting interactions with things. But I think overall, that's what we're going to see. And I think maybe this might be the end of the 1vx kind of build. Because let's be honest, most people in Cyrodiil run 1vx builds even though they don't do 1vx. And the reason is there's no downside to building like that, really. You can kind of have it all. But next patch, there might be a decent incentive there for players to, just stack damage and that kind of thing. I am very curious to see how a normal solo 1vx build handles gankers and that kind of stuff. Because, gankers can hit harder, but also you should have some more hots and you fundamentally should be stronger as well. So does it all equal out, or are we going to see the death of the 1vx build? That's the one thing that I'm actually interested to see. And honestly, I don't think we'll see this till maybe a month, maybe 2 months into the patch going live. These things take their time. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it's something that a lot of people should be aware of. This is going to introduce one of the biggest knowledge gaps we've ever seen in this game since the really early days. Because it's not only do you have to have the knowledge of each class and how each class is set up, now you've got to have the knowledge of every subclass set up and all of that. It's going to make reading plays in PvP a lot harder, like a Nightblade. You know the in-cap spec combo's coming at some point. So you're going to have to learn that for a lot of things. And, the average player is not going to be able to do that. The average player can't do it now, let alone with another freaking gazillion options thrown in there. For the ones that want to take the time and learn this system on the PTS, they are going to have probably the most fun they've had in this game for the first month or two, because everyone's going to be running around like they're brand new to the game. It's going to be an interesting time for those that want to take the time and, fundamentally practice. Now, I do want to note that I think this system is going to be fun and interesting. Now, how long it stays like that, I don't know. But at the moment, I'm so fed up with the current meta in Cyrodiil that, holy shit, I'll take anything that mixes it up at this point. I'm also very concerned about unwanted interactions, bugs, that kind of stuff. Because generally, Zos isn't good with this on a normal update, let alone an update where they're fundamentally changing the whole way the game works. So, there is going to be bugs, and there's going to be probably some super broken bugs. There's a few that I've seen. We'll see if they get fixed before it goes live. That will be a good indication of how much Zos actually cares at the moment. But we've seen a lot of these things make it into the live patch, and then it's in the game for 3 months after it's live. And this kind of stuff just isn't good enough. It never has been good enough. And I don't think Zos will be able to pull off something like subclassing without having some massive issues. Now, let's get into what I think should have been done. Now, when this was leaked, was it 3 months ago now? It was leaked. I posted a video about it. There was a lot of speculation at that time, but after we talked it out, we went, okay, so yeah, if they let us take, say, an offensive skill line and swap it for another offensive skill line, this could be kind of cool. It could give you some different options, but the unlimitedness of it wouldn't let you be able to break the game so easily. It would feel probably very similar to what ESO feels like now, just with, a bit more options. So that's kind of what we thought. And then we were like, okay, so maybe worst case, they just let you swap one skill line for another skill line. It doesn't matter what it is, and call it a day. But what Zos did is neither of those things. They let you swap two skill lines, and I honestly believe that they should have started with one. I think this would have made the transition for the player base so much easier, and you could get a sense too, like, if this goes well and people like it, cool. But if people kind of don't like it, then you can kind of leave it as it is and not push forward with it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I honestly believe they should have stuck with one. I think I'll be lit up in the comment section if I do not mention ball groups. And I think a lot of people are very worried about what ball groups can potentially be next patch. And I would be worried because you think of it this way, right? These proper ball groups, the proper organized guys that have spreadsheets and do all this shit, they're probably on the PTS right now working out what is going to be the strongest. So day one, ball groups are going to be organized, at least semi, and they're going to know what at least works on a basic level. The average player, they haven't been on the PTS. They don't know what's going on. So week one, they're going to be so lost that these ball groups are just going to absolutely, utterly delete them. And I think this gap will get smaller and smaller as the average player base's knowledge gets up there, and they watch more YouTube videos, they get a better build, they work out what works for them. That gap will shrink. But at the end of the day, the nature of something like subclassing is going to be more beneficial to a ball group than an average player. They can optimize better than the average player or the average group can. So it will widen that gap. By how much? I don't know. But if you think ball groups are a problem now, you're not going to have a very fun time next patch, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. But hey. All right, so a couple little things that I just want to talk about really quickly. And first is I'm seeing a lot of people throw out these broken gank combos and stuff like that. And I could see how they quickly see this and then go make some offhanded comments. But at the end of the day, these won't work the way that people think. They've stopped a lot of skills from working with stealth now. So, yeah, it's probably still going to be an issue, but it's not going to be an issue like a lot of people think it is, and it's probably not going to be to that degree that a lot of people think. Don't get me wrong, ganking's probably still going to be an issue. It's just a lot of the things that people are saying aren't quite true. The second thing I've seen thrown around here and there too is people talking about, will Zos backtrack? If this comes out and it all goes to the shit and everyone hates it, sub numbers fall off a cliff and player numbers fall off a cliff, will Zos backtrack? In that extreme, probably. But in reality, I don't see the player numbers falling off to a degree that would make Zos have to backtrack on this. They are pretty good at sticking to their guns, and I think they've invested too much time and effort into this system for it to go away. If we've seen that extreme hatred, I could see them walking back on it. maybe doing what we said and actually letting you only swap one, and they modify it that way, we could potentially see. But this system going bye-byes altogether, I just cannot. I cannot see it. Anyway, boys and girls, that's my general thoughts on subclassing. Now, do I think it's good for the game long term? No. Do I think it's good for the game short term? For me, yeah. I think I'm going to have some fun. But there's a lot of other ways they could have gave me fun without, changing the way the whole game plays. Anyway, boys and girls, love you all. I'll catch you next time. Peace.